My sister didn't wait for the candles or the blessing. She stood up at Dad's birthday dinner, lifted her glass, and announced she was the only one with bank access, loud enough to slice the room in half. No whisper, no hesitation, and everyone smiled as if her brag were something to be proud of. Dad didn't. His hand trembled slightly, a flicker I caught and held quietly in my chest. I didn't argue, didn't correct her. I just felt the weight of the bank's call earlier that day and realized our family was seconds from splintering. My name is Rose, and the strange thing about growing up in our family is how easily you can disappear, even while sitting at the same dinner table. Everyone talks, everyone laughs, and somehow your voice slips between the cracks. That's always been the pattern between Emily and me. She fills the room, I steady it. She performs, I make sure the pieces behind her don't fall apart. People assume I'm quiet because I'm shy, but the truth is quieter than that. In our house, harmony mattered more than honesty. If Emily glowed, we pretended the light was warm. If Mom insisted things were fine, we acted as though they were. If Dad hesitated or forgot, we looked away so he wouldn't feel embarrassed. It was easier than confronting the truth. Still, Dad and I had a rhythm of our own. He'd call me when numbers confused him, when a payment reminder popped up on his phone, unsure if he'd already handled it. I never made a big deal. I'd stop by after work, help him sort a stack of envelopes, drink tea in that old Denver kitchen, and leave before anyone labeled it favoritism. In our family, even kindness had to be quiet. But last fall, I started noticing moments when Dad's certainty slipped. Not dramatic, just pauses too long, forgotten details, questions repeated shortly after being answered. When I mentioned it to Mom, she brushed my hand and said, "He's tired, Rose. Don't worry." Emily echoed her. If Emily said it wasn't a problem, suddenly it wasn't allowed to be. Then the bank called. I was at the office, reviewing budgets amid the hum of printers and low conversations, when a representative asked me to verify recent activity on Dad's account. First routine. Then she described several large withdrawals, too close together, and asked if Dad had approved a new card linked to his account. When she said it came from someone in the family, I didn't need her to finish. I asked for time to look into it. The weight didn't lift. I planned to speak to Dad privately before his birthday, rehearsed gentle questions, folded them into my planner like a promise. But life rarely gives perfect moments. His birthday dinner arrived faster than I expected, candles lit, laughter humming, relatives assuming all was well, and Emily, of course, chose that night to claim her power. The restaurant was small, warm lights against old brick walls, intimate in ways that made tension sharper. By the time I arrived, half the family had gathered, coats slung, silverware clinking, someone asking the waiter about dessert before entrees arrived. Everything looked normal, tightening the knot in my chest. The bank's call pulsed behind my ribs, but I tried to let Dad enjoy the evening. He looked good, tired, yes, shoulders heavy in ways I hadn't seen before, but his smile was genuine when he hugged me, asking if I remembered the candles he liked. I had. Emily arrived 15 minutes late, sparkling dress turning heads, dramatic apology, Mom clasping her hands. The difference between how they welcomed her and greeted me was subtle, sharp enough to leave marks. During appetizers, conversations spun around vacations, work, home projects. Dad laughed occasionally, but his eyes drifted, searching for threads lost. When he leaned toward me, asking what we'd just been talking about, I answered quietly, unnoticed, Mom frowning at me. Then the shift. Emily tapped her glass with a fork. 3 chimes, the room hushed. She stood, hand on Dad's shoulder, voice bright. "I want to make a little toast. Most of you know I've been helping Dad with his finances. And now I'm the only one with bank access. No worries. Dad's completely taken care of." Smiles and soft laughter fell as she intended. But Dad didn't smile. His jaw tightened imperceptibly, a crack forming in my chest. Everyone else didn't see the alarm behind my eyes. Missed balances, unusual withdrawals, the bank's warning, the paperwork naming me second safety contact. Emily basked in her moment. Mom dabbed her eyes. I sat pulsing into something cold and clear, refusing silence. Applause faded. The silence between Dad and me lingered thick, tangible. He avoided my eyes, studying wrinkles in his napkin, fear behind his confusion. Dinner ended. Family lingered, hugging, laughing, promising more visits we'd never keep. Emily soaked up praise, ignoring me, assuming I couldn't threaten her story. Outside, crisp Denver air woke me from the haze. Dad came slowly, leaning on the doorway, Mom hovering with a smile that tried to hold the family together. "You didn't say much tonight," she said warningly. "I didn't have much to say," I replied. Emily clicked her heels, looping her arm through Dad. "Thanks again for tonight. I'll swing by tomorrow to sort out the rest of the paperwork." Dad stiffened just slightly. "What paperwork?" Emily ignored him. Mom intervened. "He's tired." But unease curled in me. Dad's uncertainty wasn't isolated. It was a pattern, and Emily relied on it. I drove home, turned on a small lamp casting a warm circle over the coffee table, pulled out Dad's folder, spread statements, policies, and logs across the surface. Withdrawals too close together, notes not his, a request form with Emily's signature where his should have been. My hands didn't shake. I was calm, decided before I realized it. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a pattern, and patterns break when someone refuses to look away. I leaned back, staring at the lamplit papers, feeling something settle. The truth needed a place to land. Next day, quiet hours held their breath. I drove to Dad's house just before noon. Emily wasn't there yet, which should have comforted me, but my pulse tapped faster. Dad answered slowly, tired, eyes lighting up briefly at my arrival. Morning light fell across the kitchen table, a half-finished teacup cooling beside his glasses. He gestured for me to sit, rubbing his forehead, sinking into the chair. "Rose," he said, "did we talk about something yesterday I can't quite remember?" My heart squeezed, not because he forgot but because he knew he forgot. Kept my voice soft. "We didn't really get the chance to talk, Dad. But we need to now." Before I could continue, a car slammed outside. Emily's heels clicked up the walkway, Mom following with a thick folder. They entered uninvited, convinced they belonged more than anyone else. Emily's smile was too bright, perfect timing. "I brought the rest of the documents Dad needs to finalize." "Finalize what?" Dad asked, eyebrows knit. I rose slowly. "We're not signing anything today." Emily's face flattened. "This doesn't concern you, Rose. It concerns Dad. And the bank." The room snapped to attention. Emily froze. Mom stopped rustling papers. Dad looked unsettled. "Are you accusing me of stealing?" she demanded. "I'm asking you to explain," I said calmly, placing the statements on the table. Flagged payments, the attempted secondary card request. Dad stared as if reading another language. "I got a call," I said steadily. Mom bristled. "You should have come to us first." "I was going to. But last night changed things." Emily scoffed. "Oh please. Because of a toast. You're dramatic." "You said you had full bank access," I replied. "In front of everyone." "Because I do," she shot back. Dad's gaze snapped to her. "Since when?" Emily faltered just enough to reveal the crack. "Dad, we talked about this. You signed the forms." He shook his head slowly. "I don't remember." Mom intervened too quickly. "Honey, you were tired. Let's not make this bigger than it is." But I wasn't looking at her. I was looking at Emily, and she was losing her grip. "I'm the one the bank called," I said, "because Dad listed me as safety contact." Her voice rose, sharp as glass. "Are you accusing me of stealing?" "All withdrawals?" I asked Dad. He rubbed his temples. "I don't know anymore." Emily pounced. "See, he forgets things. That's why I'm helping." "No," I said quietly. "That's why you're taking advantage." Silence thickened, electric. Mom inhaled sharply. Emily's jaw dropped. "About what?" she demanded. "Irregular activity. Request for a card in your name. Withdrawals." Dad didn't confirm, eyes wide, fear close. Emily, did you do that? She tried to explain. I was just trying to make things easier. You've been overwhelmed, Mom said. I didn't tell you to take money. I lifted the final paper. The card request, signature hers, not Dad's. She lunged, I pulled it back. Dad stood shaking. Emily, you forged my name. That's not what happened, she whispered. I filled it out because you said. I didn't, he said, shoulders shaking in horror. Emily tried. Dad, please, I was helping. No, he said, trembling. Rose has always helped. Heavy like grief rearranging the house. She backed away, searching for the old family choreography. The script had changed. Give me your keys, Dad said. What? House keys, bank documents. Everything. He held out his hand, shaking but resolute. When she hesitated, he turned to me. Call the bank. Revoke all access except yours. Investigate the rest. Gasped. Emily's face went slate white. You're choosing her over me, she choked. I'm choosing the truth, Dad said. I don't trust you right now. Emily covered her mouth, breathing hard. You'll regret this. I already regret what I didn't see, he whispered. She stormed out, slamming the door. Silence followed. Dad turned, eyes glassy. I'm sorry, Rose. I should have listened. I should have noticed. I took his hand. You trusted the wrong person. Happens. What matters is what we do now. He nodded, sinking into the chair. For the first time in years, the house felt honest. Broken, yes, but honest. The bank moved fast. By morning, all access linked to Emily was revoked. An internal review began. Dad looked like he could breathe, weight lifted, replaced by fragile clarity. He asked me to sit with him while sorting remaining paperwork, hands steadying each time I guided him. Mom drifted in and out, quieter, her confidence shaken, understanding how loyalty can blind. Emily didn't come by. A single message to Dad. Clipped, needing space. He read it twice, folded the phone, whispered. Space is good. In the quiet, something shifted. Not triumph, not revenge. Just the steady thrum of a family beginning to rebuild. Weeks later, Dad and I settled into a new rhythm. Slower, gentler, honest. We didn't speak of Emily. Some wounds need no retelling. But he trusted me fully, and that trust felt like the start of something steadier than forgiveness.